1 in 4 people in the UK are affected by mental health problems, and over 75% of people will establish a mental health problem by the age of 24. So why are the government making such drastic cuts to university funding, leaving many students lacking the support and facilities needed to complete their courses? My name is Mullins, and this is my educational struggle. University can be tough for anyone, but especially for those living with a disability. Not just mentally, but from anything from taking notes in a lecture to carrying heavy books are just a few examples of why. From August this year, the government has made £30 million worth of cuts to disabled student allowances, which were a vital support line for thousands of students across the UK. Joe Johnson, the Minister of Universities and Sciences, says the cost of disabled student allowance has risen as more and more students need the extra support. However, here is the worry that many universities are struggling to meet these extra costs, leaving students in desperate need of help. Evidence shows that counselling services from the university are highly effective, but the student-to-support ratio could be 3 to 4 times lower than the required number. We spoke to a student who relies on these support services.
My name is Josh Donlan. I study media at Birmingham City University.
So I'm Lewis Sheard. I work with Josh Donlan as a personal assistant. Pretty much I do everything and anything that I can do to help him. So go to university with him, do lecture notes with him, read over assignments, and then pretty much cook and be close friends with him, really. That's pretty much it.
If I didn't have the extra support at uni, I sort of think I would be able to survive, probably. Yeah, because at the moment, like for example, I mentioned my extra time earlier, I don't really use it that much. So it's just sort of, there is a buffer zone really. I only really use it if I really need it. For me, my experience, I don't necessarily think the university could do any more really to support disabled students.
The salary of a university vice-chancellor or a single-star academic, which can be upwards of £200,000, can cost more than a university's entire counselling service in the lowest funded institutions. George Harrison, the Vice President of the Student Voice at Birmingham City University Student Union, spoke to us about the support the university offers and how they plan on tackling the effect of the cuts.
Well, BCU have actually been very proactive despite the cuts that have been made. So they have already said that they're going to set aside quite a large sum of money to provide support. We've actually just very recently just been made aware of that. The Students' Union have just found out that that support's still going to be available. So the cuts that the government are making are specifically for non-medical support that disabled students might need. The cuts aren't coming through, so students who need medical support will still be able to have access to that support. However, universities are now required to provide funding for non-medical support, such as note takers, readers, dictaphones, that sort of thing, in a non-medical capacity that students still need but might not have access to. But the university have actually said they're going to provide for these students and have already made provisions for that to happen.
To gather a more in-depth understanding of how this is going to affect students, we spoke to Jane Woodburn, a mental health advisor from the NHS.
What we actually need is very skilled counsellors and very skilled people in mental health services who are in place to actually take on the numbers. That's 1 in 10 who will have a mental health problem while at university. That's a significant number, and we just don't have the workforce in place or trained at the present time to be able to handle that, regardless of putting the services in place. I guess it's because all budgets are coming under pressure, and that mental health over a long period of time has in fact been disinvested in. I guess also that the money that's available to universities to support their counselling services and the problems of other pressures within the university system has also meant that cuts have had to be made.
We spoke to Umar Hassan, a student from Birmingham City University, who talks about what is provided for him at the university and whether the funds are important to him.
Yes, is the simple answer, and the problem is mental health funding tends to vary from region to region in the UK, and it's sort of been talked about for many years about the NHS integrating it into a health and social care fund. So to put that answer forward, it's sort of yes in some ways. So I generally think that mental health funding needs to be equalised rather than cut to the bone, because you don't want mental health going in a similar situation to what the NHS is going through right now.
It seems like without government funding, universities are being forced to put more and more money into student support services. Only time will tell how the situation improves for disabled students and how this will affect their time upon university.